G'day, Mike. Hi, Mark. Craig. Machine NZ. Poppy. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's Wednesday night again. Just home from work. Big day at work. There's some other crazy stuff going down as well, which I'm not at liberty to talk about yet, but I will at some point. Don't know who knows about that. But Tom, g'day. Lisa, hi. So, just got home. What have I been doing? What's everyone been doing? Messing around with these little boilers. This is for Chirpy, who's not in, I don't think. It's actually, needs, this one doesn't quite, it does fit, but needs a little bit more work. Awesome, Machine NZ. Kevin, that sounds great. Can't wait. These are a joint project with Chirpy, and I'll do a bit more of a video on them. I've got some footage, not a lot. They're pretty basic. It was from a 1940s magazine, and he's done a set of castings on the little engine that goes with this boiler. And for this little engine, that's quite a big boiler. So I've made 2 of these. Awesome, Craig. Anything we need? Cool, we turn into this old Tony. So I made 2 of these. One of them's got wet paint on it and it's nearly finished. This is the other one. It's got stainless steel here. It's got a channel in here. It's just 2 ends folded up. Hey, John. And channel in here to hold for the burner to slide in, and some tubes. The stainless steel around here, and I've painted the end pieces black on the other one. I will probably put some sort of a strap over the top to stop it moving around, I think. Still wondering about that, but if it's got that, then it's probably going to be all right. I'm going to probably cut this off and just put a fitting for a rubber hose or something. I'm not sure about this. I'll ask Chirpy what he wants. But that should be fun, and he's waiting to get his before he starts on the castings. So this is the little set of castings that he sent, and I've been a bit slack about it. I did get a sleeve for the cylinder made. Someone, gosh, who made that? I have it written down somewhere. One of the American creators, anyway. There's a cylinder and a zinc flywheel, a couple of end covers, and a standard. So it's not a very big engine for a fairly big boiler. But this might be a good little test boiler with a offset pipe with just a rubber hose, so that we can try a few other engines on steam, I'm thinking. So that's something that I've made some progress on. DRO looks good, Poppy. Hi, David. Thanks for the love on Facebook. So that's a project at some point when Chirpy gets there. And the other one's sort of, there's still wet paint. It's Pot Valley Black, which is a sort of a satin black, which should be really good. Just smarten everything up nice. Don't have to make burners still, But apart from that, they're more or less finished. There's probably I'm going to make a strap to hold them down. I'm unsure yet about that because these tubes are actually in the way. So we might revisit the original drawings. But this is a modernised version because the old ones were based around a cocoa tin. And I think this will be a little bit better. Just a little bit more. A little bit more professional and a bit more reliable. So nice little boiler. Not real little either, but should be good fun. So that's what I did for most of the weekend. Didn't sweep the bench tonight. Take care. Hi, Duncan. What gauge is the tin on the boiler? This is about 0.5, 0.6, I guess, to get soft gal steel. This is about 0.4 stainless, so that's sort of what they are. They're pretty tinny, really. It's just a piece of stainless around, and I'm just going to put 4 pop rivets in it when it's all together and put a strap over it. And I think that'll be pretty good. They won't come apart, but they probably don't need to. This is the other thing I've been working on. It's not finished yet, but by way of procrastination on all the other projects, this is painted yellow and it's still to dry, which I'm really a bit impressed about because I painted some signs with this paint when I first got the tin, and I don't think they ever dried, and they certainly didn't dry nice. And this hasn't dried real shiny like it should, but for one shot. But I'm not much good at sheet metal, but I've fitted these 2 little pieces here, and I'm just going to put a leather strap under there with a rivet in each end just for a handle. I've just put probably jump out and jump back in and see if it's any better. So we've got a dividing head box. Still got to make a strap for here too, so the lid doesn't close or would fall back on itself. That's the theory. I think it's going to there. We'll live with that. Hi, Bob. So this is what we've got. Don't know if you can see inside there. We might move this camera down a bit so you can. Probably. There's a lot of work in this box, Max. There we are. I think we've sort of got a camera angle that works. We've just made up a clip there to hold these. Which are the spare plates, and one on the machine. There's a hole in here for the drawbar and a couple of Allen keys. There's a place here for the tailstock. Thanks, Mr. John Creasy. And there's space in there for the dividing head. I don't know yet whether there's anything else it needs, but everything seems to fit. Put that in there like that. They all sit there nicely. And the lid closes, which is a bit of a miracle. This is just MDF. This is just 7mm MDF, which is pretty ordinary, but it's all I had and it's easiest to work with, and I wasn't going to rush out and buy another sheet of wood or anything. So it's MDF, and I've mitered the sides with the router so it all fits together nice, and just put some corner moulding in the corners to give it a bit of strength. But I don't know if you can see that. You can probably see it here best. And I cut all the pieces to go in it, and then run a bit of body, like a bit of water putty around them, just to sort of try it out, and give it a half a dozen coats of paint and some sanding up. So don't know where JB is. Huge thanks to JB for these plates. That's awesome. So I'm not sure whether this probably needs a plate on top here, an etch plate. I kind of think it does. However, it's not going to happen this week. So I don't know. I'll get a handle on it and a strap on it first. So this project's getting very close to finish. There's still a little bit of work to do on the tailstock. I've got to, if we have a look underneath here, I've got to put a slot through here with a key in it to line up on the T-slot. So that's the job that's got to be done. Apart from that, there's probably not very much else to use. So I've just got to get the mill going so I can use it. I just glued it and clamped it. It hasn't got screws in it. I put a bit of a chamfer on it and I clamped it nice and tight. It seems to be, it fitted up okay, and then I just hit it on the belt sander all the way around. But because this took a week to dry, I've got fingerprint marks and everything, and I'm not really impressed about that. But it's not going to get another coat. So I cut about a 7mm recess by about 3mm deep in two sides, this one, and then I sat the other pieces in between them and along the bottom, and I put plywood in the bottom because I think it needs to be a bit more solid. So it's got, I think it's got 8mm like interior pry that I had a piece sitting around that sits in the bottom of it, and then there's MDF in the top. But I think it'll be all right. I'm suspicious that it's probably too good a box for the job, but it's done. Biscuits would be awesome. Biscuit cutter. Audi have got a biscuit cutter at the moment. I was nearly going to buy one, but the money's better into something else at the moment, so it didn't happen. So that's where we're at, but we've got a huge yellow box. Probably needs a etch plate on it. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, Max. This tin of paint is just ordinary one shot. It's golden yellow. Really like the colour, and it's probably I've probably used 2 tins since that don't have the problem. But this particular can, and it's a big can, it's sort of expensive tin of paint. When I did some backboards with it for a project I was working on, I ended up giving up on it and sanding it back and buying another tin because it just wouldn't go off. And especially here at winter time or cold time at the moment, a friend of mine who's a sign painter in Norway, actually, who kind of ends up using one shop in wet all the time in the dark. I'm not sure if he's in Norway. He's probably in Greenland or Iceland or something like that. Anyway, he said blowgun or hairdryer, and I've done that, and it's made a big difference to it. But it's not shiny like one shot. I was expecting a real glossy finish for one shot, but it's pretty matte. Yeah, awesome holiday, Russ Knox. Really enjoyed that. So anyway, I got a box and it's looking good. But it needs a handle and a few things, so that's probably Friday's job at work when our bootmaker's in. Call in a favour. And I put 4 little stick-on carpet feet under that box, which I thought was a really good idea. And that way it doesn't scratch or rattle around. Someone asked about the metal in that boiler. There's a spare sheet. That's it's probably 0.3, I think. That's what I've used on the outside. It's pretty thin as stainless steel. Hi, Tinker. And I think this is probably 0.6 soft gal, which is nice and easy to work. So I cut a few well, my sheet metal guy seems to think I muck things up, so he always cuts an extra piece or two, which is good. So what else was there? Some stickers from this guy. Don't know if you know this guy. Really nice sticker, actually. I like this. This is one of my favorites. Really love the color, love the artwork, love the writing on it, and awesome horizontal cutter. Perth, Western Australia. So Max, thanks for the stickers. That's awesome. How do you get an amazing sticker like that? You've got to ask the right people, I think. I don't know how much they're in actual demand, but I really like that sticker. It's one of my favorites. I got 2 of them. I put one on the board. I'll probably hang on to one for a bit, and if it goes, if I've got a parcel to send to someone, it might go in it, or it might go to John for the Facebook group thing. That's generally what happens. I've got a huge box of stickers here to go to John at the moment. Might post them tomorrow even if I get time. He's got heaps. He gives them away. That's his trouble. What else? I dug around in a drawer. I don't know. I wasn't really going to show this project. You've got to get on the group and win photo of the week. That's what you got to do. So post some pictures. That's the Facebook group, YouTube Machinists. Sign up, post a lot of pictures. You'll get photo of the week eventually. Yeah, sorry to hear about your Facebook thing. We really do miss you. And there's another project that we'd like you on board for, so I was sort of waiting for you to sign up, but yeah. Thanks for your email too, Craig, last week. I've got these 2 great lumps of brass, which I've carted around from place to place where I've lived or whatever for the last 15 years. These were, I guess they were probably plasma cut way back in the day. Yeah, there was another project. I will send you an email about it, Craig. I will send an email out on that. Speaking of the tips thing, there's 1 month left, so it's 15th of September. I'm going to send an email out, so watch out for that in your inbox if you're watching this and you got one the first time around. I'll also post a copy of that on the Facebook group about the Tip Splits 2019. So 15th of September that goes down, so I'm going to send a letter out this week just with a bit of a reminder and stuff. That's next. You didn't get the email? Did you see it in the group? I'll make sure you're on the list. I'll make sure you're on the list. Now, this bit of 10mm brass, it's 240 by 130, and there's two of them. They kind of weigh about 3 kilos each. They're kind of crazy. But I had this theory once that I was going to make a clock depthing tool with them. Right? Which means cutting most of the middle out, and you could probably make another one out of the middle part that you cut out without too many problems. But Rust Knox, yeah, absolutely. I'll forward that on. That's no worries at all. Anyone else too? Drop a comment down the bottom so I don't forget. Yeah, lots of big names got behind that, so I want to just get a bit of a head count before I get back to people like this old Tony and Naomi Wu and some of those guys who promised to be in on it as well. So it comes to mind that at this point in time I'd like a clock depthing tool, or I've got a friend who could borrow it if I had one, which would be really nice because I may never build a clock. But it also comes to mind that a clock depthing tool made out of 2 sheets of brass like this is going to be huge and completely impractical for anything that most people are going to do except making probably like tower clocks and things like that, which are really machines, not clocks. So one of them will be surplus and probably put that aside for something else. And I think I'm going to cut this in half, just run a slit and saw through it in the middle, and put them together and pin it and cut them out and make a depthing tool out of one of them in 2 halves, because 100mm across here or 80mm across the arbors is plenty big enough for most clocks, and 100mm deep or 80mm deep is kind of big enough too, and that's going to be heavy enough to mark out a plate without, I'm thinking out loud here, but it's going to be heavy enough to mark out a plate without actually giving yourself a hernia. So that's a project that I'm going to do. A clock depthing tool. It's for getting the centers right on 2 wheels, on 2 arbors. You mount your wheels on your arbors, and it's a V-shaped thing with an adjustable screw with 2 lots of centers, and you can adapt them so that they spin nicely, and then you've got scribe points on the other end, and you can just mark out your plate and get your centers right. That's the way a clock's made, which is a bit back to front, but sorry, I still do have a bit of a cold, but yeah, clock depthing tool. You got it, Craig. So that might be a fun project. And they probably want rope knurl wheels and all those sort of fancy things. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to put into that. But I've got the bit of material there, and it was fairly expensive when I bought it, so that might be something I make. Anyway, don't know when, not going to promise, but that's a project that needs to be done. Also got to make a cutter for a friend, a 4-facet clock wheel cutter, a 0.8 module or something like that, just like a cycloidal cutter, which is pretty straightforward. So that might be another project too. Yeah, we've got a dividing head and stuff. Milling machine's still not going. If you have a look, pulley's still off it. The motor's sitting over there. It's a great lump of a thing. It needs mounting up on the plate and everything, bolting back on, and then we can probably start thinking about wiring it. Probably not going to make a cutter out of that. It's probably going to be silver steel, John. Being a gym bunny must have gone to your head. Think about it. Other than that, it's been an uneventful week. It really has. Here's another project. We were talking about these, and they're pretty good. There's this blow lamp. This one's in bits at the moment, like everything else here. But this blow lamp, they're a pretty good thing for a bit of supplementary heat if you're making a boiler. Big bushy flame. Good way to heat up a lot of copper really fast without spending any money on it if you've got a good one. This isn't a good one. It's all dented in on the top, which wouldn't matter, except that this channel here has to be pretty good so that it holds a bit of metal for preheating, and this one's not. It's got a few dents in the side. It's been used for target practice. I don't think it's got any holes in it, but at this point I'm not sure. So probably the best thing is to unscrew this and make a plug for here, and unscrew this and make a fitting and pump it up with water and see if some of these dents pop out, I think. But if we can get those dents out, then the rest, they're a pretty good blow lamp, and they're a good easy thing to use. It needs a new cup washer too, so whether I'm making too much work for myself, but it might be fun to get this going. Someone gave it to me, and when I was looking for something the other day, which is my pop rivet gun, every single time I want to use my pop rivet gun, I've got to spend a day looking for it and discover that I found a place for it on the pegboard, and that's where it actually lives. But while I was looking, I got up on a chair and looked at some shelves up the top there, and I found this, so I might give that a bit of a clean up. You can get replacement leather washers on it for them. It's a pretty easy thing to make. It might be a fun project to do it, because hey Bob, that sounds like a really responsible sort of a fun thing to do. Anyway, they're a pretty good blow lamp. If you're making a big boiler, you've got 2 or 3 of them and some fire bricks, it's a really good way to keep some heat and some copper without wasting a lot of oxyacetylene. Anyway, I was looking at that the other day. Progress on the Stewart. That's about the only other exciting thing. And I don't know if there is much. Gosh, this is getting heavy. Yeah, it tends to. It really does. I lose bits and pieces in here all the time, but I needed to clean up bad, and I've done that to a certain extent, so that's a lot better. I've finished these more or less on the back here to where I'm reasonably happy with them. I've given this a bit of white paint just to stop some of the rust and to give it a bit of contrast and to see where the ugly bits are. The cone of cleanliness thing just didn't happen tonight, and I do apologise for that. But didn't even get there, to be honest. All good intentions. We didn't even get a cone of cleanliness. All we got. If you're wondering about that, means go and see Tommy Gun Machining's video about unboxing the GoPro that he won in the tool making competition. good video, lots of fun. Really enjoyed it. But he speaks of a cone of cleanliness, and you'll see what it is really. It's this distance between here and here where the camera sees. So this is all bolted up. It's a pretty serious lump of an engine actually, you know, already. Next job on this really is to face this off and bore it. But probably there's a lot of little bits that I'll make first. I don't know. We'll have to get the milling machine going for that. And I really just need to go and get that milling machine going. I've said that 5 times tonight. I've got the VFD screwed on the wall. Anyway, that's what's happening. Huge thanks to everyone for all your support. Really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get together some giveaways for 5,000 subscribers. It's not that far away. It could be next week, or it could be 6 months. I've got some ideas about that. And it's just a matter of putting them into place, but there might be some cool little things that we can post out, I think. Excited about that. And it might do enough to post out to my patrons too, because without them, things like that steward engine just never happen. And really appreciate you guys, anyone who's watching. New video out on the little Kenneth Wells traction engine this week. It's not new, it's 12 months old, but it's fun to publish a video on YouTube. I don't know if anyone watches series videos anymore, but they're worth doing because they go on Patreon, and I like those people to think they've got some well to have some involvement in the design process and in the project that I'm doing. And at the moment, that's the Stuart Turner engine. So apart from that, I think I'm going to call it a night. I didn't sleep well last night. Too much going down. And I've got a big day tomorrow. So really appreciate all you guys. Mark's going to do a channel all about tether cars, I'm sure. Can't wait. Put the pressure on him because it's a pretty cool hobby that he's into. And good night, Raymond. Thanks for checking in. And we'll see you all next week probably, but there might be a couple of videos on YouTube before then. And I'm out.